Well, guys, good morning, afternoon, or evening. All in crypto here. And today we're going to be delivering you another daily cryptocurrency market update. And this one is going to be very specific, although we will mention the traditional markets. It's going to be very specific towards the crypto space. I went to bed last night and woke up this morning to chaos. The market didn't look that bad going into last night. However, overnight for me, which is a telling factor to where this sell-off has came from, certain altcoins, I woke up to 25% down this morning. Now, this is not necessarily something that I foresaw. You guys know that we got into the market at the start of the year and are now in a position where actually for the first time in a long time, we are marginally down on our positions generally. Not all of them. Some of them are doing okay. But certainly altcoins that we bought, they have now, some of them gone on to putting new lows. And what happens here is going to be very interesting and important. But what I want to do to start the video off is talk about actually what's occurred here, what's gone on, what's happening, why it's happening, and then we'll look at the charts, where we are, and where we're going moving forwards. So let's kick things off, guys. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into what you're all wondering. What has happened overnight? Well, we know that we saw lawsuits brought first against Binance and then Coinbase. And ultimately, since then, we have the likes of Robinhood, who looked to end support for 3 tokens named in the SEC lawsuit. Cardano was mentioned in both lawsuits, Polygon and Solana. So Matic, Solana, and Polygon, which if you look at liquidations, seem to be very high in regards to liquidations. They also seem to be the coins that have got hit the hardest. Now, has it been over-leveraged longs in the markets that have caused this sell-off? No. If you look at longs, it is $385 million, which is not enough to cause a sell-off of this magnitude across the board. This is spot selling, in my opinion. We can get that from the total number of liquidations not matching up to the degree of sell-off. This happened overnight. I'm in the UK time zone, which means that there are only certain time zones that are awake and active. The United States, some of the United States, and Asia. We know more than likely that this is firm sell-off, given the fact that it's in the altcoins that were mentioned. It's the whole market, but predominantly in the altcoins in regards to the degree that were mentioned in the SEC lawsuit, happened overnight, hasn't come from liquidations, and we've got funds liquidating. Shows to me that this sell-off is spot funds getting rid of their positions in a low liquid market Friday night going into late Saturday morning, for me. Going into low liquidity when there isn't a massive amount of buy pressure there anyway. So the SEC has obviously had a big part to play with this. It's not an excuse for anybody down on a position or a trade. We got stopped out of a trade this morning, and blaming the SEC for it, you should never blame anybody for your own trades and investments. Yourself, because ultimately, you're never going to get anywhere constantly blaming people. So the SEC, of course, have likely caused funds through fears of regulatory persecution to dump these cryptocurrencies to a degree, and it's caused the entire market to sell off. That's exactly what's gone on, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at Bitcoin really doesn't look too bad. And for me, this is a real lesson as somebody who's more bullish on altcoins than Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin has a far greater degree of stability than altcoins. Altcoins are, and this should always been accepted as the case, very, very low liquidity, high beta plays. The upsides are always great, which we've endured for quite a while now, certainly as we got long at the start of the year. And some altcoins have actually gone into putting new lows, such as Algorand, for example, Cardano. The question is what happens here? Is this just a market overreaction, and does this end up becoming a deviation and a marginally lower low for these coins, and they ultimately see upside, and you get this kind of double bottom scenario for many of them at a time where we assess Bitcoin is going to go above and beyond 35k. We'd always spoken about for Bitcoin a 30k retracement as it being key resistance. We have discussed the possibility of 25k being hit as a retracement, ultimately in preparation to set for more upside. And do we get that double? Does that occur with a double bottom scenario for the altcoin market? We assess that the stock market, and this is how we know it's crypto specific, is actually in a very good place. And we see a similar thing happening to the last time they paused rates, which was round about here, and this sort of a run moving forwards for the stock market. I think crypto will appreciate that. We think gold's on the cusp of new all-time highs. We think the dollar is going to see weakness. We've got the rate decision coming up. The macro for me really hasn't changed. However, I've got to be honest, I didn't see this happening. This feels very much like FTX and Luna kind of capitulation. Cardano has been absolutely damaged, to say the least, from a price point of view as a result of you can see this grind line that you spilt below. FTX's, not FTX, sorry, the SEC's persecution of everything. So, we're always transparent with you guys on this channel. It does look like for certain altcoins, not the general cryptocurrency market, by the way. I just want to highlight that. This is the cryptocurrency market. If you look at the space as a whole, January was still a not so bad decision, but certain altcoins that are our favorites, we are now eating red on. We're always, and I'll show you that. This is the total market cap. This, of course, is January. Still assess that this space, just like the stock market, is in position for upside. Altcoins are very small and speculative, guys. They're getting thrown around. Do you get that kind of marginally lower low, double bottom kind of scenario that we're now looking for taking place? Potentially. But we will see. There's silver linings here if you're looking to DCA, so on and so forth. But this has been caused, obviously, intrinsically by the cryptocurrency market. Certain altcoins positions now we are, for the first time this year, in the negative on. It's how it goes, guys. Ultimately, timing the bottom is not an easy thing to do. And I still assess that for certain cryptos, it's already in. And for others, you are pretty damn close. Even if you took January and DCA'd from then to now, I think you've got pretty damn close to the bottom of the market. That's absolutely still my assessment. That hasn't changed. It's never nice, I think, to wake up to stuff like this. I think people do panic. The main thing is, if you're really sweating in this situation, you need to look at your overall situation in regards to how leveraged towards the crypto space are you? And that doesn't mean that you've had to take out leverage trades. Is that money that you've got, are you going to become a forced seller? Because then that gets very, very painful. And believe me, if you're even close to it, there'll be something that will tip you over into being a forced seller. I experienced all that in prior bear and bull markets. But ultimately, we still remain long from a spot point of view. This hasn't really changed much. Silver linings in this, I think, is we know regulations are coming. Regulatory clarity is coming. We got Ripple lawsuit, the XRP lawsuit, which has never been so crucial to the entire industry. And if you look at the cryptocurrency market as a whole, it doesn't particularly look that bad. We still assess that this was a bottom after the FTX capitulation. Certain altcoins are getting hit very hard because they already have low liquidity on a Saturday night with funds liquidating and dumping. Again, I want to stress this. Gensler's not an excuse. Me being now marginally down in some of my altcoins, Gensler's not an excuse that I'm using for that. You are the only variable when it comes to the markets and your participation in them. You can't control the future. We did foresee Gensler going after the SEC Gensler going after Coinbase and Binance, but perhaps not in the manner that he has. Ultimately, again, we remain a long stance. We think the markets generally don't look bad at all, other than altcoins, which look pretty crappy, to be fair, guys. There's no way for me to beat around that bush in regards to where they are. By crappy, that doesn't mean that I'm saying I think they're going to go in and put in massive lows now and that you're going to get this real cascade of sell-offs. I don't think there's much of that left to come. This could now be, for altcoins, the final signifier of that. But we'll see. It's all about how do you react with these lows. Do you deviate below them? Do you hold them and you get this double bottom scenario as the rest of the market turns? Bitcoin, for example. We assess the stock market, again, on sideways rates is going to do very well. We've been very right on the stock market and markets generally. Even Bitcoin, the total market cap, and Ethereum, for example, but certain altcoins, we've actually, assessing that we thought the bottom was in back in January, which has been up until this point, literally, we were wrong on that call. How wrong will be? Is it just marginal and do things recover? The future will hold. At the end of the day, guys, we're here giving you our best take on the markets, and what you choose to do with that is entirely up to you. This is not investment advice or financial advice. We always say that because you need to own your own outcomes more importantly than anything. So what do we do moving forwards? Well, we've still got a very interesting week ahead with the CPI coming out on Tuesday. Wednesday, I think we've got the Fed's rate decision. There's a PPI before that. We still think they're going to pause rates. We've looked at what happens with a pausing of rates historically. We think that is all still to come. We do think crypto will bask in that sun. We just, however, think that this is an intrinsic cryptocurrency issue that will blow over like all the other ones. I mean, you know, the resilience of the individuals in the crypto space at this point is pretty high. FTX, Luna. Luckily, we managed to avoid most of that. We did get caught up now, of course, in the SEC. It's not FUD. It's genuine. It's a concern. For any funds in the US, you've got to think about how they view this. They could get shut down on the back end of it. That's why we're seeing some of them shut down, and we'll probably see more of this. But typically not a bad time to buy, in my opinion, on the back end of capitulation. And that's what this is. Nothing short of. So I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Let me know your thoughts. How are you feeling about the markets? Does this price action bring you joy? Does it bring you... are you worried about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. As always, if you've enjoyed the content, like is appreciated, so is a comment. Catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned.